Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing fine and taking care of themselves. There's a lot of people I know, including my friends, you know, from non-finance background and even from finance background, who requested me to explain how the GST works in practical world. I thought why not prepare a PPT and explain the whole rationale behind how the GST works. So without wasting much of your precious time, I take this as opportunity to discuss the practical applicability of GST with the help of few examples. So I start with the intrastate sale of goods or services. So when we talk about the intrastate sale, what strikes in our mind? Intra, basically the transaction which takes place within the boundaries of a state. So any transaction taking place within the state, we call it intrastate sale of goods or services. Now, I'll try and keep it very brief and simple so that the people who is going through this will understand it easily. Let's discuss this with the help of an example. Say there is a manufacturer, Mr. Manoj, who happens to stay in Haryana. He manufactures a particular product, say X, using raw material, variable overheads, direct labor, and other fixed costs. Now let's assume the final sales price before the GST liability in the hands of Mr. Manoj is rupees 5 lakh. Now he wants to sell the product to other customer, say Mr. Farhan, who also stays in Haryana. So basically both the seller and the purchaser of good is residing in the same state, Haryana. So basically it's an intrastate sale of goods. For simplicity, we'll assume the GST rate to be 18%. So the value of goods or services charged by Mr. Manoj for supply to Mr. Farhan is rupees 5 lakh rupees. Now he's going to add on the GST. So basically, being the intrastate transaction, GST would be split into two parts: CGST, which is the Central Goods and Services Tax, and SGST, which is the State Goods and Service Tax. So basically 9% each, which comes out to be 45,000 rupees. So total price charged by Mr. Manoj from Mr. Farhan for intrastate supply of goods is rupees 5 lakh 90,000 rupees, and this is basically the final sales price in the hands of Mr. Farhan. Now Mr. Manoj will deposit the GST charge from Mr. Farhan to the respective central and state government, that is rupees 45,000 each. Manoj, because he was the first manufacturer, there is no input credit available in the hands of Mr. Manoj. So now what about 90,000 paid by Mr. Farhan? Well, this 90,000 paid by Mr. Farhan as GST would be the input credit available, and this could be utilized to set off the output GST payable when Farhan would further transfer the goods to third party. Now continuing with the same example, say for example Mr. Farhan makes a value addition of 20%. He is not the final consumer of the product. He basically purchased the good from Mr. Manoj, and he is using that as a raw material, and is further adding on the labor. He is adding on the variable overheads and other fixed costs. And after making a value addition of say 20%, the final sales price before the GST liability in his hand happens to be rupees 6 lakh rupees. Now he wants to sell the product to another customer, say for example, Miss Shweta, who also happens to stay in Haryana. So basically I am trying to continue with the intrastate sale of goods so that you have a good grasp of the entire process and how the work flows. Now the value of goods services charged by Mr. Farhan for supply to Miss Shweta is 6 lakh rupees. Like we did in the earlier example, we'll add on the CGST 9% each and SGST 9%, and so the total price charged by Mr. Farhan for Ms. Shweta for interstate supply of goods happens to be 7,08,000 rupees. Now, what is the total GST payable by Mr. Farhan? He paid 54,000 each, CGST and SGST, and his total output liability happens to be 1,08,000 rupees. Now, as I told you earlier, he has an input tax credit available when he bought the product from Mr. Manoj and paid the GST liability. So, 90,000 paid by Mr. Farhan to Manoj, it can be utilized as input tax credit, and this could be set off with the output GST payable by Mr. Farhan. So, therefore, total GST payable by Mr. Farhan to respective governments 1,08,000 rupees. He'll deduct the input tax credit available, that is 90,000 rupees, and his net GST liability would come to 18,000 rupees. So, GST payable to central government 9,000 and SGST payable to state government 9,000 each, which is equal. So, total revenue in the hands of the respective governments. When Manoj sold the good to Mr. Farhan, he paid GST liability to the account of central and state government, which was 45,000 each. And when Mr. Farhan sold the good to Ms. Shweta, he paid the GST to the account of central government and state government 9,000 each. So basically, the total revenue in the hands of respective governments is 54,000 with the central government and 54,000 with the state government. Till now, we have been discussing about intrastate sale of goods or services. Now we come to the scenario 2, where I'll be talking about the interstate sale of goods or services. Now, what do you understand by interstate sale of goods? Well, when there are two parties to a transaction and each party stays in different state, and the transaction taking place between both the parties who stays in different state, we call it interstate sale of goods or services. Now, for a better understanding, I will first try and discuss about the intrastate sale of goods, and then basically gradually we'll move on to the interstate sale of goods or services. Continuing with the same example as we discussed earlier, there's a particular manufacturer, Manoj, who transfers the goods to Mr. Farhan, and both of them now they are residing in the same state, Haryana. Again, we have assumed the GST rate to be 18% for simplicity, and sales price before the GST liability is rupees 5 lakh in the hands of Mr. Manoj. As we discussed earlier, value of goods charged by Mr. Manoj for supply to Mr. Farhan is 5 lakh rupees. He'll add on the CGST and SGST, which is at the rate of 9% each, turns out to be 45,000. So the total price charged by Mr. Manoj from Mr. Farhan for interstate supply of goods is rupees 5,90,000 rupees. Again, as we discussed earlier, Mr. Manoj would deposit the GST charge from Mr. Farhan to the respective central and state government, rupees 45,000 each. 90,000 paid by Mr. Farhan would be the input credit available, and this could be utilized to set off the output GST payable when Farhan transfers the goods to the third party. Now, continuing with the same example. Now, this is important because here we are now we are going to talk about the interstate sale of goods. Say for example, Mr. Farhan makes a value addition against say 20%, and his sales price before the GST liability is 6 lakh rupees, and he now transfers the goods to Miss Vartika, who stays in Delhi. So the value of goods charged by Mr. Farhan for supply to Miss Vartika is rupees 6 lakh rupees. Now she is going to add the IGST. Now this is new. This is integrated goods and services tax. This basically applies in case of interstate sale of goods. So IGST at the rate of 18%, which turns out to be 1,08,000 rupees. And so the total price charged by Mr. Farhan from Miss Vartika for interstate supply of goods is rupees 7,08,000 rupees. Now let's see what is the total GST liability in the hands of Mr. Farhan. Mr. Farhan's total integrated GST liability is rupees 1,08,000 rupees. But as you know, when he bought the product from Mr. Manoj, he paid 90,000 rupees, that is 45,000 each to the account of the central government and state government, and he had a total input tax credit of rupees 90,000 with him. So now he's going to utilize this input tax credit to set off the total integrated GST liability. So 1,08,000 was his IGST, and total input tax credit available in the hands of Mr. Farhan was rupees 90,000 rupees. So basically his total net GST liability turns out to be rupees 18,000. Now the important question is whether Mr. Farhan would deposit the entire net GST liability in the account of central government, state government, or he is going to split the total 18,000 into 9,000 each to the account of central and state government. Well, this is the difference when we talk about the interstate transfer of goods or services. In case of the interstate transaction, state has nothing to do with the GST. So, Mr. Farhan is going to deposit the entire 18,000 rupees to the account of the central government. But you remember when Farhan bought the goods from Mr. Manoj, he paid 45,000 each to the account of central and state government. So while utilizing the input tax credit of 90,000, 45,000 was paid to the account of the central government and 45,000 was paid to the account of the state government, that is the Haryana government. So when Farhan is utilizing his input tax credit, 45,000 is already available with the central government, and the other 45,000 which he deposited to the account of state government. State government, that is Haryana in this case, would transfer the SGST credit of rupees 45,000 to the account of the central government, and now Farhan can utilize this 45,000 which he paid to the central government and 45,000 which he paid to the state government, the total which turns out to be 90,000 as an input tax credit. So basically his total net GST liability happens to be 18,000, and he will deposit the net GST liability to the account of central government after utilizing the input credit paid while purchasing the goods services from Mr. Manoj. Now suppose Ms. Vartika supplies the same goods which she bought from Mr. Farhan, and after making the value addition of say 20%, she wants to sell the goods to Ms. Nidhi of Delhi. So here you can see that now we are again shifting to the intrastate sale of goods from interstate sale of goods. So the value of goods services charged by Ms. Vartika for supply to Ms. Nidhi is 7,20,000 rupees. Again, because this is the intrastate transaction, we'll add on the CGST and SGST 9% each, which turns out to be 64,800 rupees. And so the total price charged by Ms. Vartika from Ms. Nidhi for intrastate supply of goods, that is within Delhi, is 8,49,600 rupees. Therefore, total CGST payable by Ms. Vartika to central government is rupees 64,800 rupees. But as we have seen in the earlier example, when Vartika bought the goods from Mr. Farhan, she paid IGST of rupees 1,08,000 rupees. So now this is the biggest difference when we talk about the GST and when we talk about the earlier VAT and CST, Central Sales Tax. Earlier IGST credit was not available, but since the GST has come, this is the biggest advantage that people are having. Now even the IGST credit can be utilized to set off the total output GST liability. So total net GST liability to central government turns out to be nil because Vartika has IGST credit available with her. So 64,800 she'll set off with the input credit available with her. So the net GST liability to central government is nil. Now total CGST payable by Ms. Vartika to state government. I beg a pardon, total SGST payable by Ms. Vartika to state government is 64,800 rupees as we calculated above, and again she is going to utilize the IGST credit available. So 64,800 credit she already utilized when she was paying CGST, Now, after utilizing the IGST credit available for CGST, she is left with 43,200 rupees as input credit. So, the net GST liability to state government would come to rupees 21,600 rupees. Now, because IGST was paid to the central government, now central government would transfer the IGST credit of 43,200 utilized in the payment of SGST by Vartika to the Delhi government. Vartika would deposit the net GST liability of rupees 21,600 rupees to the Delhi government. So, now if Miss Nidhi is the final consumer of goods, then GST paid by her would not be available for input tax credit and would form part of her cost of goods. However, if she further transfers the goods to another party, then input tax credit available in her hands would be rupees 1,29,600 rupees, that is CGST which she paid 64,800 rupees and SGST which she paid 64,800 rupees.